So my presentation is going to focus on a little bit of context about trends in Ontario. I'm also going to talk to you about the strategic priorities in Ontario, which are set out in Ontario's immigration strategy, and some of the key achievements or the early focus of the implementation of the strategy. I'm probably going to skip a couple of slides on our provincial programs because I think everyone probably has that information or is available, widely available on our website. So, as everyone knows, immigration is very important to Ontario. It provides opportunities to address economic needs and to enrich communities culturally and socially. Because of the importance of immigration, the province launched the immigration strategy in 2012. The strategy was developed in response to a number of trends that have negatively affected immigration and integration of immigrants in Ontario. The strategy was the conclusion of the work of the expert roundtable on immigration, of which Debbie Douglas and Leonie Chatat were members of. And the roundtable process was informed by consultations, research, discussions with many different stakeholder groups. And one of the first steps we took following the release of the strategy was to initiate evaluations of many of the ministry's settlement and integration programs to review their effectiveness and their continued relevance given the changing context on the basis of evidence gathered from multiple sources of evidence. So as part of this process, we have undertaken consultations extensively with organizations like yours, as well as with your clients. And many of you, I know, recently participated in the evaluation of the Newcomer Settlement Program, and your clients as well, and as well as in the review of foreign qualification recognition, which is currently underway. So this summit, the input, the rich information gathered during the 3 days of the summit will further inform priorities, will complement consultations undertaken through other processes, either directly by the ministry or commissioned through our program evaluations. Next slide, Ontario context. I'm sorry, I skipped. I'm on slide number 4. So there are 3 main trends affecting immigration in Ontario and successful integration of immigrants. The first is the decline in overall immigration to Ontario. Although we continue to receive the majority of immigrants coming to Canada, the annual immigration to Ontario has declined by 30% since 2001. And at the same time, Ontario's share of economic immigrants has also declined. Currently, Ontario's share is 46% compared to an average of 70% in other provinces and territories. The second trend is the increase in the number of temporary foreign residents present in Ontario, which has more than doubled since 2003. As a result of immigration selection changes, eligible foreign workers and international students are increasingly transitioning to permanent residence, and so it also makes sense to consider extending services to them to promote retention and transition. On the other hand, there has been a decline of nearly 60% in the number of humanitarian temporary residents, mostly refugee claimants. The third trend is the decline in social and economic outcomes observed over the past 30 years. Although immigrants are highly skilled and educated, we continue to see labor market outcomes that are well below those of the Canadian-born. Immigrants experience high unemployment, underemployment, and low income. The foreign qualification recognition issue is obviously part of the problem, and obviously the underutilization of immigrant skills impacts their potential contributions socially and economically, and it affects the quality of life of immigrants as well. Slide 5, please. So this graph, I'll very quickly go through it, shows the landings numbers to Canada and to Ontario, the solid line and the dotted line. The green bars show Ontario's proportion of national land by residents, either as foreign workers or students, international students, and then transitioning to permanent residency. The blue line shows the change in the number of temporary foreign workers. The red line is the foreign students. The green line is the humanitarian populations, and the purple line is other temporary resident categories. Since 2008, international students in Ontario have increased by about 40%, and this number is expected to rise given the emphasis given to attraction and retention of international students by both governments and post-secondary organizations. Between 2001 and 2011, the number of temporary foreign workers in Ontario has grown by 120%. Slides 7 and 8, I'm just going to very briefly refer to those two. Basically provide an outline of the kinds of programs offered by the government of Ontario to help immigrants settle and integrate. I will just mention that about $100 million is invested annually by the Ministry of Citizenship, Immigration and International Trade on labor market services, integration services, settlement services, language training, municipal engagement. This is, in addition to this investment, many other ministries invest in immigrant integration through programs such as, for example, the Ministry of Health deals with health issues specific to immigrants. Ministry of Education has the ESL, FSL program in the elementary and secondary school system. Their Employment Ontario's offered through the Ministry of Training Colleges and Universities, and so on. So there are many other programs, provincial programs, that are part of the continuum of services that support immigrants. On slide 8, just a couple of comments with regards to our approach to foreign qualification recognition. As you heard this morning, Ontario has a two-pronged approach. One is measures to address the FQR issue at a systemic level, and the Fair Access legislation was our response to that, which created the Office of the Fairness Commissioner, and our Ontario Bridge Training Program is our direct service response to support immigrants' transition to the labor market at a level that is commensurate with their qualifications. Slide number 9, please. So in 2012, as I said, in response to some of the trends that are affecting immigration in Ontario, the province developed the immigration strategy. It has 3 main goals. And which are basically help to prioritize the work of our ministry and of the Ontario government related to immigration and settlement. The first goal is to attract a skilled workforce and to build a stronger economy. And a key target, and I'm moving into slide number 10. If you want to follow the outline. A key target of this goal is to increase economic immigration to 70% from the current level of 50%, using a variety of tools, such as growing Ontario's provincial nominee program and promoting retention of foreign workers and international students who have pathways to permanent residence. The second goal is to improve settlement outcomes of newcomers, and the key targets or objectives under this goal is to strengthen services with a focus on interventions for newcomer groups that need the most help, so the ones that are more vulnerable. Working with employers is also a priority to improve labor market attachment. And increasing Francophone immigration to 5% from the current level of 3% is also one of the targets under this specific goal. The third goal is to grow a globally connected economy. And under the key targets here are to improve labor market integration supports, and our bridge training program is a key tool for that, and to work with employers to increase immigration employment rates and to decrease the employment rates of immigrants to the provincial average. And of course, to continue working on removing foreign qualification recognition barriers. We created an annual ministers' employer consultative table. The first round of employer consultations were held in 2013. The second round was launched last week at the Economic Summit. And that has been a very good opportunity to engage employers in identifying priorities and solutions to some of the labor market challenges. Another priority area is conducting evaluations for our immigration programs to assess their effectiveness, improve services, and align them with immigration strategy. And many of you have already participated in some of the evaluations. More will be launched this fall. Finally, we developed the Ontario Immigration Act, which died when the provincial election was called, and we're now working on reintroducing Bill 161. The next slide, at 12, it's just, this slide just shows some of the key intergovernmental and bilateral initiatives related to settlement that we're working on with our colleagues at the federal government, at CIC, and in other jurisdictions. In addition, the ministry plays a prominent role at other immigration tables to advance Ontario interests. Our minister co-chairs the Forum of Ministers Responsible for Immigration, and Ontario is the co-chair of the Policy and Operational Express Entry Working Group. Just to conclude, the last slide, I believe is number 15, just to sum up the Ontario priorities. They are established in our immigration strategy. Current and future priorities are also influenced and determined by our government's priorities, which are set out in the throne speech, our provincial budget, minister mandate letters, which are now public, and obviously the results of program evaluations and the consultations that inform the evaluations. The summit will shape these priorities further, and taking together all these sources of input will inform future programming decisions. And this is the end of my presentation, so I managed to get through most of it on time. Thank you, and I wish you a very successful event.